What's up, everybody? Welcome. Wow, we've been live for 10 seconds. That's crazy. How is that possible? I don't believe that for a second. All right. Anyways, hello. Welcome to the USA Late Night Live Extravaganza Show Palooza. Here with your host, Forrest at USAEFC on X and Instagram, and my good friend and host, Quinn. You can say your last name this time.
I don't know. I like how you say it, but we'll give the people what they want.
Quinn. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen. Say hi to the folks, Quinn.
Hey, folks. It's good to be here. Good to be
folks. Here. Excellent. Well, Happy New Year. Happy holidays to everybody. I hope everything was safe and successful and fun and cheery for you. Obviously, we haven't done a show for almost a month now, which is a little disappointing, but lucky for us. This is a new year, new start, new me, as they say, as is written on my mirror right now. That's not true.
New year, new me.
We are here, and we are here to do way more shows this year. Love to see this community of Everton content, and especially American Everton, the content that is coming about. Quinn, what is the name of our friend's new show that's coming out, or has already been released?
Is it the Blue Frontier?
The Blue Frontier, exactly. It is, yes. The Blue Frontier from a few of our good American Toffee friends. Really excited to see them get a show out. Just a quick shout out to them before we start. But yeah, so we already know what we're talking about. I feel like every time we start the show, it's just like, here we go. But yes, yesterday, all of us, or at least the very, very unlucky of us, witnessed Everton's 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth. In Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium, the house of horrors for Everton. Have not won a league game there since they've come up. Quinn, give me just some initial opening thoughts, really light stuff, okay?
Yeah, really light. I'll keep it light. Gosh, it is so hard to watch an Everton game these days. And the fact that we had 0 shots on goal in 90 minutes just really sums it up. That statement in itself, you didn't even have to watch the game, and that's enough to be like, you didn't miss much. Yeah, just not entertaining. What have we've played 19 games, and we have not scored in 11 games. And what is it, 8 of the last 10 we haven't scored in?
8 of the last 10, yep.
And so it is so hard to be optimistic thinking I'm going to watch a game and we're going to score some goals. Like, this will be the week. This won't be the week. I mean, to be honest, really, really proud of the fact that we scored one against City. But outside of that, you just think if we don't keep a clean sheet, we don't walk away with any points.
Well, Quinn, you're forgetting something though. You're really forgetting something. And then if more of those draws and losses have been wins, the run would look better, you know? So I don't.
Yes. Oh my goodness. The Twitter world has just made all the quotes with all the different statements of like, oh yeah.
I know what you mean. Yes. The plays on Sean Dyche's words. Yes. Yesterday was just another really frustrating affair for us as Evertonians. Yes, agreed. 0 shots on target against Bournemouth is really, really embarrassing. There was a feel about this game, and I always go into every game with hope, but it's just so much harder now to go into this game with true hope and really think that something is going to change with the one man that we know really needs to go, and that is Sean Dyche. I think he's about the only man, maybe besides the Freakins, who really believes that he's the right man for this job right now. Members of the media have turned against him, especially the Everton media. It does not seem like they are really treating him with the same level of dignity. Dignity is probably not the right word, but the same level of reverence. He's obviously did a good job, kept us up, but it's gone on too long now. There's so many things that we could really try to focus on about Sean Dyche and his tenure and what has led to us having no shots on target away to Bournemouth and a 1-0 defeat in a game that was there. Truly, I mean, ever so many of the games we've had this season have been there for the taking, and we haven't even thought about taking them. We've just hoped to God that we don't lose them, and then that's, we haven't lost a decent amount. We had whatever, a run of draws against some good teams, but it's just so hard to get anywhere near hope for this team with Sean Dyche at the helm. Trying to find a spot to start to talk about yesterday. I think maybe it would be good to talk about individual players, if you're okay with that, Quinn.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with the back. Jordan Pickford, another great game. No mistakes in my mind. Solid 7 out of 10. We conceded. I don't blame him for the goal. Maybe he was a little bit out of position, but I'm not a goalkeeper coach, so I can't really say too much about that.
Yeah, I think Jordan has played well. I think Jordan has kept us in more games than, which at the beginning of the season, not that we're going on a full season, half season review, but beginning of the season, he looked pretty shaky, pretty nervy, and has come out the last probably 2 months and been England's #1 and playing well, making wild saves. But he can't save us alone.
Right,
That's
exactly. That's exactly what it is, yeah.
But yeah, he's played well.
He's the only player for Everton that has played consistently at a very high level.
Mm-hmm.
Not only this season, but probably for the past 5-6 years. He's the only player who has played at a consistently high level and kept his game at a besides dips in form that happen to even the best players in the world. He has played at a consistently top level. I told a friend of mine this after pickup the other day. I told him that I thought that Pickford was probably a top 5 keeper in the world. I know that's a big statement, especially for who Everton are as a team and as a club right now. But I think it just goes without saying that he truly is just a keeper of real pedigree. Moving on from Jordan, we'll start with the fullbacks now. Mykolenko and Young. I thought Mykolenko was, again, just really poor. I think he exhibits a characteristic that I think a lot of this Everton team has right now, and that is a true lack of composure on the ball. That man is terrified of the ball. He cannot be near it, especially defensively. He's so afraid of making a mistake that everything is just away. Even in moments where he has a minute to take a touch or make a pass to somebody and build ourselves out of it, he can't. It's just a ball away. I hate to harp on him because I know he's a guy that tries and cares. But I don't know if he's continuing to be demoralized by Dyche or suffering from what is just a general malaise of this team right now. And then Ashley Young, I thought was solid and decent when he needed to be. There were a few times when Bournemouth got in behind him, especially that Kirkez. That Kirkez has played pretty well against us twice this season. Their left back just being able to get in behind. He actually had the assist for their goal. It was a fantastic driven ball across the box for Brooks. But other than that, I thought Young played fairly well. Quinn?
Yeah, I think Young played fairly well. His age is just, you just can see it in moments, which isn't necessarily a fault. That's just a reality. Mykolenko, I think so many people have said it. I would say it as well of I don't think anyone could doubt him or speak poorly to him as a human being or his character. But yeah, he has just looked afraid. He's looked slow, weary. And I think too, there's probably still realities of his family being in Ukraine. There's so much off the field stuff that he as a young kid is experiencing being in England while the war is going on in his home. And so there's lots, but yeah, gosh, he's not, I don't know if he's mentally in it in a game.
I think he could really do with a spell out of the team. I think he could really do with just even a couple weeks. I know he is a player will probably want to play every week, but I'd imagine once he got over that first bit of shock and hurt to his pride, that he would be really relieved to have a little bit of time out of this team to just get some of the pressure off him. I think that would do him a world of good, and just putting somebody like Young at left back or finding a left back this window. Center backs, Braithwaite and Tarkowski. I think they were both pretty crap, personally. I think we can talk about the goal later, in depth, but we all know that Braithwaite ducked out for that goal. He 100% could have. I watched it back 10, 15 times. and I tried to make up excuses for him, and he just 100% just instinctually, which is really bad for a center back, but instinctually ducked out of saving that goal. He was right there and he ducked out of it, and that's really frustrating. Then Tarkowski was just Tarkowski, he sloppy, giving away fouls, just kind of left, right, and center. Could head a ball away, which is what we need, but at the end of the day, it's just not truly enough. I don't know. I don't think he made really any real mistakes. Not like Branthwaite. I think today was probably one of Branthwaite's worst games in terms of getting a yellow card in the first minute, and then of course not saving that goal. I really think he should have saved that. Or Quinn, what you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that Jared didn't play great. James played, I would say, he just played an average game.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah. He was there. But I think what's really disappointing is coming off of last season with so much hope with that center back pairing to then how it's, obviously Jared was out for a while, but even them playing back there together, it has just not even come close to anywhere near what last season was.
Yes, I agree completely. Yeah.
So.
Yep, I think, I don't know, we can sit there and say, oh, Keane should start. Oh, O'Brien should get a chance. Look, we got Peterborough on Thursday. We're going to see probably Keane and O'Brien, or honestly, we might even just see Keane and Tarkowski play. Like, who knows? I'm not ready to think ahead to that quite yet. Moving on to the midfield, we'll go with Ganagay and Mangala to start off with. I thought this was probably not one of Ghana's greatest games. He does what he does really well and broke play up and won the ball back and made great tackles without committing too many fouls. But he got caught in possession a couple times, which for me is a characteristic of Ghana in a way, but also just more a characteristic of this team and not having a way to get ourselves out of possession sometimes, besides just hoofing the ball forward. And I think he's also being asked to play a role at times that just doesn't suit him. Being advanced, playing in roles where he has to make a decision to make a cutting pass or keep the ball moving, I just doesn't really suits him too much. I think he's much better suited playing in front of that back four and being covered. And then Mangala got dragged off at halftime. I think that I've noticed this. I think during Mangala's first appearance or first couple of appearances, he made some motions coming onto the pitch. It was substitute appearances where he's like telling the team what he's going to do, and then kind of was like, I don't know what he wants me to do. I think Mangala has some personal issues with Sean Dyche. I've noticed this and seeing kind of the way that I thought he played really crappy. Honestly, during the first half, I think he played okay in the first 10 minutes, but after that, it kind of seemed like he just stopped giving a shit. He seemed really uninterested in the game. Just sloppy passes, not doing the right things, holding onto the ball too long, and not playing in the position that he needed to be playing in, getting sucked in too much. And I would assume, I sit there and think that he got taken off because of that. Because I think Gay, Mangala, Harrison Armstrong would have been a lot better than Gay, Decore, Harrison Armstrong. Not that the goal or anything that really happened in the second half was Decore's fault so much, but having a more polished midfielder makes more sense than having Decore back there, who's kind of a headless chicken in midfield. Your thoughts, Quinn?
Yeah, I think I'll speak to Ganagay first, but I think he is more of a defensive center mid. That's where he thrives. He's great at winning the ball, at cutting, like getting. he's good at being in the right place at the right time. I think he played fairly. I think he played fairly well. I think he was one of our best outfield players, to be honest. That whole first 10 minutes, I know some people have said we played well. The pundits were saying it was scrappy. I thought it was so sloppy. I didn't think it was bad, but it just was so sloppy. Both teams giving the ball away back and forth in the midfield and just or the right into the attacking third, just tons of sloppy play, which I do think Ganagay looks fairly he's the person who's winning balls that Bournemouth's giving away. Yep. But like you were saying, in terms of going forward, he is the defender. He's not the playmaker that he sometimes is forced into a space to be in this team. And it just doesn't suit him, which I think is unfortunate. Yeah.
It's like he went more often than not. If we're taking a shot outside the box, if it's not Dwight McNeil, it's Gay. At times it's been Mangala these past month or two. You know, he's been able to get into those positions, and he's probably better suited for it, honestly. It's not that Ghana is the worst shooter. It's almost like he's gotten better in old age, and to an extent. Like sometimes his technical ability as a long-range shooter is really, really good. But more often than not, it's just looping shot off into the crowd. So he's not the one who needs to be there. And it's just there's so many times where if we just had a better player there, that these opportunities, I don't want to go into a rant. So we're going to continue with the player rating because there's more to talk about. Talking about next, Doucouré and Harrison Armstrong. Harrison Armstrong obviously came on in the second half, or at the beginning of the second half. I'll let you start this time, Quinn, because I think you have a more favorable opinion of Abdoulaye Doucouré than I do.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, we talked about this beforehand, so that's where the more favorable thought comes from. But it's just that I think he can be he's one of the scapegoats of the 11 that starts typically. I don't think that he always deserves the level of stick that he gets. Deserves stick. I would not say he doesn't, but I think it's really easy for fans to get on his back. One, for it being he's one of those players in that 3 that's been around a long time and has been good in moments and really, really bad. And he's one of those players that looks like he's running around in a big pair of boots. And so I think people just, he looks sloppy, which I think is what I mean too when like he's a scapegoat. Like when something poor happens, it looks worse when he does it, I think, than others. But I thought Harrison Armstrong played fine when he came on. Just you see a young player out there running around, working hard, but not really making a difference, in my opinion. But could have been way worse.
Yep. Yeah, we did talk about this a little bit beforehand. I am not a fan of Abdoulaye Doucouré, especially in that 10 role. I think having him in that 10 role is setting him up to fail. I know it worked fairly well during Sean Dyche's first 9 months in charge, you know, the second half of his first season and then the first half of his second season. You know, he was scoring some goals and we were able to get the ball to him in good positions that way. I just don't think that's the way we can play anymore. I don't think that Doucouré has the ability to be in those positions anymore or to make use of the ball in those ways. I don't think the team has the same creative outlets to be able to get balls into the box that suit him. I don't really see what he offers his team anymore. I understand the scapegoat shouts. I think the issue is that I just don't think he's a very good player. I don't think mentally he's the best player. Physically, he was a really good player, and that's kind of been taken away from him. I don't think he can pass the ball at all. I think that's his biggest weakness. And besides his first touch, which I think is a bit crap as well, I think he just cannot pass the ball. And I think that just continuously breaks us down on attacks because it's kind of like, well, what's eventually going to happen is the players give the ball to Doucouré 2 or 3 times. He makes a mistake each time. They're just not going to give it to him. That takes out an outlet of attack. Now there's only one outlet that they feel comfortable, or they're just going to take it themselves. It's a lot of different things. I don't think he belongs in the team, and I think having Harrison Lindstrom and Dye in the team, just have creative attacking options in the team that can play with each other and keep hold of the ball. Like, I'm not saying Harrison has been somebody who can keep hold of the ball this season, but yes. Yeah, James Graham, you've made a couple of good points. Yes, I agree. Yes, our stats have been embarrassing, and that we do draw a lot of pressure on our defense. And as far as Harrison Armstrong goes, yeah, it was a total surprise to see him come on. Again, I'm assuming it's because there was some issue between Mangala and Dyche at halftime that Dyche said, okay, if you're not going to play for me, you're off the pitch. I was happy to see him out there. I thought he had some good moments and wanted to be creative, which I think is something we really only have and Element and Dye in terms of actually being able to be consistently creative. And Lindstrom for the pace that he has and the ability that he seems to have in terms of his technical ability, he does not really seem to get involved in a way that is of any real purpose or help to the team. That's probably also because of the way he's coached and the way this team is coached to be so far away from each other. You can't have creative players playing 15, 20 yards away from each other. They need to be closer. They need to be able to build triangles and build passes together. But yes, I do hope that Harrison Armstrong gets to play more. I expect him to start against Peterborough now, which I think will be deserved for him, and I hope that goes very well. It will be a different game where we will be having a lot of the ball and having to break a team down, and we see if we can do that. Moving on to our wide players, Illiman and Dye and Jasper Lundstrom. Thoughts?
Thoughts first.
Yeah, your thoughts, Quinn. Yeah, your thoughts.
We talked about this a little bit before too of Justin Dye.
Just talk.
I think he has been one of our most creative players, most efficient with the ball, but I think he started holding on to the ball way too long, which we've talked about in terms of just like head down, ball at his feet. I mean, how many times in the last few games has he tried to take on like 4 players at a time because there's nobody he can give the ball to? If there is somebody to give the ball to, does he want to give the ball? It's just been one of those, like, when he gets the ball, it's the frustrated, like, well, I'm the best person with the ball at my feet, so I'm just going to keep it. And a lot of times he loses it, which is unfortunate. But I still think he's one of our more creative players. When is he going to play in the middle? I don't know.
Not with Dyche.
But, like,
not more than once.
What a miss. He's our most creative player this season.
Quinn, I apologize. I forget you've got the Lions Vikings game on in the background. So that is very that's very big for you. It's fine.
I am watching the Lions game, which if anyone knows anything about the NFL, born and raised in Detroit, and the fact that the Detroit Lions are the sports team that are giving me life and are playing for something might be more shocking than if Everton was challenging for the title. I mean, it's up there. It's up there. So
context for our UK listeners, the Lions had a winless season in the NFL. They had a season where they did not win a game.
They were the first team to ever do that.
First team to ever do that. Yep. 0-16. Yes. So that is a city and a team that has been through a lot of pain, much like us as Evertonians. I can relate. I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, and we have been crap for a long time too. Anyways, brought up in Detroit. James was brought up in Detroit. Look at that, y'all.
On Detroit techno, that's music. That's kind of music. But it's okay.
I don't know what it is. I thought technically, technically, whatever. All right. Anyways, y'all. So you didn't say anything about Jasper Lundstrom. That's fine, because there's not much more to say. Striking options, we had 3 that played: Broha, DCL, and Beto. I can talk about them, Quinn. You can watch your game. I know you're up right now.
It's on commercial. It's okay.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. I'm glad you have a team that you can care for, because I don't.
Hasn't been a great game, to be fair.
So Beto, I'll start with Beto because he came on last. He's Beto. Doesn't belong in my opinion, doesn't belong in the Premier League. Yes, is a big, fast, pacey guy. I don't know. I sit there and talk about our striking options like that, but at the end of the day, they're being asked to do the most thankless job in sports right now, which is play striker for Everton. And I don't think that I can really levy a lot of criticism, because Broha tries really hard, unfortunately injured himself. And when you watch him try to play Sean Dyche ball, you feel really bad for him, because he's not a striker who's going to stay in the middle. That guy is going out into the channels, going out wide, and trying to get himself involved in play and trying to create for others. That is great. That is awesome. Under this manager, it's not going to work, and it's very frustrating, because I know there's a player there that could work out. Calvert-Lewin, when he came on, just didn't seem to care. Honestly, he seemed super, super disinterested. Seemed like he knew that he wasn't going to score, that he wasn't going to get to do anything. I know his mind is 90% on another place right now, whether that's Italy, another place in England, whatever it is. When I watch him play, I sit there and think, can we just pay off the rest of his contract and get him out of the club? Like, he just like this whole saga with him and still
Oh,
playing
yeah.
him despite the fact that his contract is up. It's like, just get him out, please. Just put us all out of our misery and get him out of the club. He's his family is talking crap about the club, like is talking crap about the fans. He doesn't. We have too many stupid little things like that from Malpe and
Oh
DCL and all
gosh.
these players in the past that have just talked crap about the club while they were there, while they were still affiliated with the club. It's like if I'm in charge at a club, if I'm in charge and able to make a decision, and somebody sits there and disparages the people that they work for, I'm like, you have one more chance. You have to go and publicly apologize for that right now. And if you do not do that, you are gone. Like I don't know. Like in this sense, they have all the power because we let them have all the power because they're out of contract. They're on loan somewhere else. Like it's
Yeah,
Lukaku and it's our star striker, and he's going off to Belgium to speak to the press about how he wants to move and how Everton's going to match his ambitions, and puts
I'm
a
super
voodoo curse on the club.
disappointed in how this season has played out with Dom. Because I sat here in the summer and was like, he says he wants to be Everton's number 9 and he wants to be a goal scorer. And yes, you said like he all well, 3 of them who played, it's like all 3 of them are doing a really thankless job, which we can get into the post-match comments made after or later. But yeah, Broja, it's not, the Dyche ball is not for him. So putting him up there, starting him as well, alone up there, is setting him up to fail. And then what an Everton moment where he kicks the ground and hurts himself and has to come off in the first half. Like, talk about anything more Everton than that. But yeah, just disappointed in Dom and his performances on the field, of his attitude. I mean, because there have been weeks where he's doing the same role. He's up there all by himself and he's winning balls and he actually looks like he cares. And that just wasn't present yesterday at all. And it's just disappointing.
I think he's taking this whole not starting thing pretty personally. And again, like I'm sitting here and I'm going to point to his significant other. And this is not like, I'm not trying to attack his significant other, and I would not encourage other people to do so. But she is sitting there and putting on her Instagram page in her story saying like some friend of theirs saying they all wanted DCL not to start, and then look what happens after the Forest game. And it's like come on, like it's so embarrassing to see like is he not embarrassed by that, or is he like on her side? Because if he's on her side when something like that's happening, again, it's just so disrespectful to not only the fans but everybody associated with the club, to sit there and disparage the people that pay your paycheck, to have the lifestyle that you have, who believed in your ability as a striker to come in and be this player for Everton, and to go and turn around and disparage him like that. And it shows in his attitude on the pitch, and it shows in the way the season is played out. And yes, the Dyche ball isn't working. It's never was going to work for a long time. But it's just frustrating. It's so frustrating to see this happen, this scenario where a player that we have on our books disparage a club happen over and over and over and over and over. It's beyond mind-numbing, and I can't think of any other club where this is happening all the time. So yes, the club hasn't been run well for a long time. I get that. It's easy to disparage. Everton are the easiest of targets right now. The easiest target in football right now. You want to make a joke about some soccer team? Everton, right there. Easy, done. Been that way for 5 years. We're all fed up with it. We're all tired of it. I don't know. We're just more to say. There's one player we missed, James Patterson. That's not his name.
Nathan Patterson. Are you missing James Garner?
Yeah, I am missing James Garner. I'm not actually, because I don't think James Garner did very much for us. But Nathan Patterson, yeah. I thought he looked really, really rusty. And again, definitely wanted to be out there. He did not look very, like, he had a couple moments where, he made a decent defensive play, or he had that moment where he was able to break onto the ball going into their box and just skied it. Oh my gosh, it was awful. It's how many times we do shit like that. But he just looked rusty, and definitely looked like he hadn't played at that level of football for quite a while. Verdict's out on it. I think that in the right setup that he could be a very, very valuable asset. And if he is able to develop and get the playing time to develop, he could be the right back of the future for us. I think there is I sometimes see some aspects of Seamus Coleman in him. But that's only in flashes. And again, we haven't seen much of him in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. He just doesn't look like he
up to the speed of the game, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say belongs there, but I don't think that's like the right, like, context of just like, you know, like, but he didn't look like he belonged, but part of that is fitness and just like he hasn't been getting first team Premier League football.
Exactly. Yeah. He's not playing at that level, that speed of thought, and speed of game.
Yes. Yeah. But I do agree. I actually do think that there are moments where him going forward, like it's exciting, but
yeah. Well, he's who you want to go forward. You know, he's the kind of player that you would want to combine with a Jack Harrison or a Jasper Lindstrom, where Lindstrom can drag somebody inside and then play the ball into Patterson running onto it on the overlap, and he can get a good ball into the box for DCL or Decore or Indai. And now you have 3 players to aim at into the box instead of just DCL. But those patterns of play don't happen. And that's what we're talking about when we're saying there's no attacking patterns of play. It's like Sean Dyche tells these players, you are not going to go forward. Until we get a set piece, you are not going forward. That's not going to happen. And the only times we get a counterattack are when the players don't listen to him. But otherwise, it just seems like you are not going forward. You are staying in your defensive shape, and we're going to try to get that ball to our goddamn striker, and he's going to win us a goddamn free kick, and then we will move up the pitch as a team together. Like some military unit. I don't even know. Very frustrating. Okay, so Quinn, I'd like you to talk about Sean Dyche's post-match comments. And I'm just going to sit back.
Man. Well, my despair, the Lions just gave the ball away on 4th down, so that's a bummer.
Gonna add some fuel to the fire. Let's go.
Extra fuel to the fire. I was mind-boggled by some of the things that Sean Dyche said verbatim in his post-match comments. And I made this comment to you earlier too, but I am so here for some of these reporters giving him pushback and continuing to like lean into his statements, because I mean, so many people have said it. Like, he stands there and he says things where he's just like setting himself up for like when he goes, he was in the worst position and nobody could do anything with these players and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, all these fans they want the moon, but like all they have is a paper airplane type situation. Like, I just like, personally, I cannot get behind managers leaving players out to dry in any sort of the imagination, like whether it's player by name or players as a whole. And there have been times where, yeah, our players really need to play better, but you are supposed to be like you don't throw them out in the open. You're supposed to protect them.
You're the motivator. You are the coach. You are the motivator. Sorry.
Like, you're also supposed to be like the protector. Like, you are like, you can say whatever you want behind closed doors. I have no problem with you reaming them and telling them they're not good enough behind closed doors. But to also stand in front of the media and say that publicly is a totally different thing. And I am not here for that. Never here for that in any sort of the imagination. The beginning of the post-match, he says something along the lines of like, well, it was a close game. Like, we were just edged out. Like, we were just edged out. But it was a good game. Towards the end of the post-match, somebody pushed back and said like, hey, you said it was a close game, but then as you've talked about it, like, doesn't really like, how can it be a close game if you have no shots on target? And he said, well, I mean, like, it was close by the score line, but not necessarily a close game. And it's like, you're just tripping over your words, which is so hard to listen to. And then this statement of, like, I don't remember what the question was about, whether it was about goals or shots. I mean, a comment about both of those. And he said, and I quote, they asked what needs to change. to like have more shots on goal and more goals. And he said, we need players who can do that. It's difficult to find players who are that cutting edge and ones who can score a goal. So that statement is saying none of our players are capable of scoring goals. We don't have any players in the dressing room, in the squad, that can score goals. That's what I hear, and I'm sure that's what those players hear, which we've talked about. Yes, like Dom's not playing great or like playing like he looks disinterested. But it's like you're just launching balls. I was looking at some of the statistics. We have played the most long balls of any team because that's all we do all game is launch the ball forward.
There's no other way to play.
And what are they supposed to do? I mean,
what do you mean? What do you mean? What are they supposed to do?
I know they're supposed to just chest trap the ball, turn and volley it into the back of the net.
Thank you. From 65 yards, damn straight.
Yes. And I'm just like, how exhausting. I mean, defending is the most exhausting part of the game. But I don't know. Playing up top as a center forward and just having to receive the ball and get hit, that's up there. And talk about so demoralizing when you're like Dom and nobody can play a ball to you. Like nobody can give you good
service.
Yes, service. And I'm just, anyway, all that to say, I'm just like, if I'm a player in that locker room, I'm like, my manager has zero belief in me.
Yeah.
None.
Yep.
And talk about super demoralizing. So we were talking about this earlier too, not to get onto the new manager situation or anything, but this is the one time where I am so confident that there could be like a new manager bounce where I'm like, sometimes it's like, oh, it just comes, but it's like the way in which those players in that dressing room have got to be experiencing Sean Dyche behind closed doors when in front of the world, he's saying, you suck. Yeah. So what does it look like behind closed doors?
That's a really good point.
Like I would say, like, I'm ready for this guy to go. Or I'm ready to go, you know? Which is Anyway, I've ranted this week. That's enough.
That's a really good Quinn, that's such a really good point. The way they are experiencing Sean Dyche behind closed doors, the Sean Dyche intimate experience, VIP access, man. Yo, oh man, that's a really good point. Whew. My two biggest takeaways from Sean Dyche's press conference are one that he is a lost man who knows that he is probably going to lose his job very soon. I don't think he even has the belief in himself, especially when he starts throwing his players under the bus the way he has, that he's going to be able to turn this around. Maybe he did at the beginning of the season and through these past 6 months of press conferences. Yeah, Gravison, I agree with that, Quinn, if you want to see this. But yes, I mean, he has had plenty to say during these press conferences throughout the past 6 months. But when you really look at him and his body language and just everything about him, like it's fraudulent. It's fraudulent. It's a man who really wants to believe in himself, you know? And it's just, I don't know. It's so sad. Anyways, so yes, I think it's a man who is lost. And I also think it's a man who's just completely delusional, who really doesn't know what he's saying anymore. Doesn't know what to say anymore. That has run out of ideas. I think that's it right there. He has run out of ideas. He has nothing else to say. He has nothing else new to come up with for these players to act on. He has no other way that he knows how to set them up effectively. So he's like, I guess I'll just wait till they fire me, and I'll just keep going till they do.
Yeah, but he's not. There's no like humility and like, I don't have any more ideas. It's like, well, right, what do you want me to do? These players are awful.
Yes, yes, you're right. Mm-hmm. Yes, he throws the players under the bus because he can't accept the fact that he might be doing something wrong. In his mind, success from day one at Everton has been keeping them up. Understood. We all understood that objective. In his mind, day one, when you play Football Manager and you set your season goals, day one, avoid relegation. And when later on in the game, when you're doing okay and the club's like, hey, do you want to revise these? Nope, fuck that. excuse my language, avoid relegation. That's all I need to do here. That's all I was hired for. We're not doing anything else but avoiding relegation, okay? That's success. Do not try to redefine success to me. I'm Sean Dyche. That's how I see it. The guy's like, no, there is no other definition of success than avoiding relegation. Not winning a cup, okay? Not finishing in a European place, because God dang it, if that overshadows avoiding relegation, I didn't do my job.
Or even just being a mid-table team who's safe.
Even just being a mid-table team, yeah.
Who just finishes 13th. I mean,
having that aspiration. The aspiration doesn't exist in his mind.
And I think what we people just like sleep on so much about last season is this whole like, we were in a relegation scrap. It's like we were deducted 10 points.
We were a mid-table good team last season. Like we did things. Yes, we had a bad run, but
yes. And so I'm just like, he comes in like, oh, well, I avoided relegation last season. When in reality, I'm like, yes, you did. But
thank you. You should have sacked you in the summer.
But we weren't scrapping for points at the end because of 100% poor performances. It's like we had 10 points that were taken from us due to how poorly managed and run our club is. But so then we just come in and we're like, we're going to escape relegation again this year. It's like, well, relegation without the points deduction wasn't a problem last season.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes.
But we like hang our hat on this whole like, oh, well, we avoided relegation again. And I'm just like,
he hangs his hat on it. People who might still support him. I don't know. I would be very, 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 very surprised if there is one Evertonian out there in this world I wouldn't be that surprised because we're Evertonians, but that if there is one Evertonian out there that still supports Sean Dyche right now, I'd be very surprised by that. I don't think there's anything about him that you can support anymore. I don't think that even Dwight McNeil coming back into this team changes anything for him, because at the end of the day, yes, his set pieces help us, and we've had more than half of our goals this season have been scored from set pieces. And that's on the back of Dwight McNeil and his crossing and his whatever. But
God knows that most of these players cannot beat the first defender, and it is so frustrating.
Man, it's bad.
And how many times like we get a corner kick and people talk about how whatever percentage of our goals were scored off of set pieces, and then time after time we don't beat the first defender. And we don't
beat the first defender, or we do the same routine that we've done every corner kick since Sean Dyche came in. It's hit the ball to the Tarkovsky at the back post. I don't know, man. Like you can't be so one note to everything you do and everything you coach and everything you manage and expect anything to change. That is the definition of insanity. And right now, Everton are sleepwalking to relegation. Right now, Everton are doing the insane thing and doing the same thing every week and expecting it to change. That is what is happening right now with this team. We get in the show right here, and that's it. And that's all you need to say is that this until something changes with Sean Dyche. And people are like, I'll sack Sean Dyche and give it to Leighton Baines. I don't know. I mean, like, put Leighton Baines in against Peterborough. That's great. I've had a couple of people here say that he needs to be out before the FA Cup game.
I just don't think, because we didn't have anything on our news feed this morning, that it's happening.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. If something was going to happen, we would have heard about it first thing this morning. It would have been they've had an emergency meeting with him or something. You know, it would have been something along, but it's not happened. He's not going to go before Peterborough. I doubt he goes before Quinn and I go over for Villa and Spurs. So, we're really excited. But I would be very happy if the games I get to go to this season are his last games. I'd be happy with that. Even if they're 5-0 losses both times, I'd be like, great, he's the fuck out. Get him out. Like I was there. Okay. I've been not lucky with my games I've gone to. Been pretty unlucky. I got to see us lose 1-0 at Anfield in the last minute. I get to see us in the game where we beat United and then got David Moyes sacked. That felt pretty good. But
I feel like I've been more lucky. Yes,
you've been way luckier than I have. I keep going to derbies thinking something's going to change. So that's
I went to one as well. We lost 5-2, and then Silva was sacked. But I was at Goodison Park and we beat Chelsea with Duncan Ferguson, 4 days later. So there's just
taking pictures of that game, guys. Don't even feed into it.
I didn't say that, but I was at the game. And we beat Arsenal 3-0 in 2014.
I know.
That's great.
I know.
But then I've been to crappy games too.
I went to Southampton 2-0. I love talking about this because
I went to Southampton and we lost 1-0.
We lost 2-0 on 2 own goals when we needed to win to go forward.
Minute. I watched 89 minutes of us being down 1-0.
Oh, this life is crazy as Evertonians. It is a crazy.
And we still spend thousands of dollars to go watch a game.
Thousands.
Well,
my
not
round
thousands.
Trip, my
I mean,
round trip
thousands if you add it all up.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
not
that's a
one
very
trip.
good point.
One trip's not thousands.
That's a very good point. What else is there to say? Nothing. Sean Dyche needs to go. We can get to our questions now. Oh, one more thing. In his press conference, there were two things Sean Dyche said. One of the things he said was, well, the thing we need to add to our game is scoring more goals. Really, Sean? And getting more shots on target. Really, Sean? That's what we need to do? Great. I'm glad, you're not an idiot, I guess. Yeah, like, no shit. I just and then what he was saying about the stadium, about
the last season.
This is the last season at Goodison. I don't know what everybody thought was going to happen. They need to see the truth of it. That's. I'm sorry.
He's just at a point where he's so defensive that it's hard to listen to.
I've noticed there's a gentleman, Rob Vera, who is on the Blue Room podcast. I love the Blue Room. I love what they do. It's a fantastic podcast. Please go listen to it as well as us. But Rob Vera has been saying for months that Sean Dyche is impossible to listen to because he is so far up his own ass, because he is so just full of himself, and so, like you said, lacks so much humility. And it is true. The guy has no sense of the world around him in terms of maybe I should worry about how these people feel about their stadium, that they've been with so many. We have two people in here that have been going to the match since 1971. We have two people watching us right now that have been going to the match for over 50 years. So Sean Dyche is going to sit there and tell me, he talks to you, Richo, and talks to you, Gravison, that you're what did you expect? This is the last season of the stadium that you've been going to and sitting at, maybe even sitting in the same seat for 50 plus years, and telling you, what were you expecting? Are you kidding me right now? I understand that there is a reality and that the romance and the magic of football isn't always there, and that story doesn't always get told. But you cannot tell me, Sean Dyche could not look me in the eye and tell me the reality of the situation was we were never going to be that good at home. Are you like, Sean, if you cannot sit there and try to tap into the strong undercurrent of this club, if you cannot get your hands into the fans and the desire and the passion and stoke that flame, if you cannot look at Goodison on a 2-0 win against Liverpool and listen to those fans and not feel like your heart is pounding out of your chest and want that every week, then Sean, this isn't the club for you. I need you to go. I need you to get your pink slip, and I need you to get the hell out of my club, because we have 6 more months at the stadium that I've been lucky enough to go to quite a few times, that Quinn has been lucky enough to go to quite a few times, that so many people we know have been going to for decades. It is an ancestral home for them, and you're going to sit there and tell them, I don't know what you were expecting. Sean, sorry, it's not for you. It's this club. This job is not for you. Maybe you had the balls for it when the pressure wasn't on. Now the pressure is really on, and you don't have the balls for it. I need you to get the hell out of my club right now. Get the hell out. You got sacked by Burnley. Get the hell out of my club. Your legacy is getting sacked by clubs. Get the hell out of my club. Goodbye, Sean. All right. So we've got questions to answer. We've got questions to answer, don't we, people? I forgot to do all my banners here. Wait, let's get this one up at least. Hooray. We were ready to get into it. Okay. So our first question today, who is your worst possible realistic option to replace Sean Dyche? Quinn, take it away.
The worst realistic option.
Jose Mourinho. That's fine.
Yeah, I think that's there.
Yeah, I think he would take Sean Dyche's mess and toxicity and multiply it times 100 and leave with a month to go in the season and let Leighton Baines be the one to take us down. He'd be like, fuck those guys. No, that's my worst. No, Moyes is not the worst. I think Moyes is actually the best personally, but that's a personal opinion of mine. Okay, I know your whole X thing. Our next question is about Moyes. Do you think David Moyes could save Vitaly Mykolenko. Do I think David Moyes can save the whole of Ukraine? No, I don't, because that's what's going to save Vitaly Mykolenko right now. That's not a nice thing to say, but
Big Sam might be the worst too. That's a little less realistic, but I would say that. Or Rafa. Bring Rafa back in, That could
Look
be
what
worse.
he did at West. What he did at West Ham was kept them stabilized, in my opinion. He did good. He won a trophy there. I think you just said you want a manager that's won trophies. David Moyes, right there, guys. Come on, bring him in.
Did you see that he was at the West Ham game this weekend?
I did see that. Yes.
And all the what's he doing?
Yeah. He's literally like this ex just waiting. It's kind of creepy. He's like, can you imagine being Lopetegui sitting there and you look up and David Moyes is looking down at you like just shaking his head. Yeah. Like it's 5-1. He's like, I've seen enough. And he walks out. Can you imagine being him being like, that motherfucker? That just came into my head out of nowhere. That's crazy. Yes, David Moyes wants to go back to West Ham. That's I think that's pretty evident. He's not going to those games when they're in trouble and thinking, oh, let me just go catch some football real quick. He's like, you guys want me back? It's fine. Come on.
I'm here, just waiting for a phone call.
Just another $1.5 million for a year for 18 months. Come on, no big deal, right? Come on, you guys got this.
I'll just finish the season out. I'll just finish it.
Yeah, just a few months. Just a few months. Oh, you want me to stay? Oh, gosh. Okay. David. Oh, David. No, he can't save Vitaly Mykolenko because Vitaly Mykolenko has to save himself first. Anyways, are Everton selling themselves? This is a really interesting question, and I think Quinn will have a better answer than I will. Are Everton selling themselves short if they let Beto go? Also, what would you consider a good deal for him? Quinn.
Gosh, selling ourselves short. I feel like this isn't a yes or no answer it's not like a yes, they for sure are, or no, they're definitely not. I think it's particularly hard because of where we're at with no goals.
Yep.
And I think he has scored the most goals in terms of time played this season, which some of that is he comes on and he's just chaos, the whole him and Michael Keane up front chaos. But I mean, are we selling ourselves short? I don't know, because if Dyche doesn't go, obviously they clearly don't have a good relationship, Beto and Dyche. But who else is going to score goals up top? So that's where it's none of them seem to be able to score goals with how we're playing. But he scored the most goals in terms of time on the field, in terms of his efficiency. Not that it looks great, or that he's a great player, or that he's a top Premier League player, or that he even really could thrive in the Premier League. But he's been able to put the ball in the back of the net a few times this season. And so when you're in a team that can't score goals at all, do you give away a guy who can put the ball in the back of the net a few times? It's hard because in a normal season, I'd say, no, we're not selling ourselves short. Off he goes. It's fine. I have never been his biggest fan. When he first got here, I was not impressed with what he did on the field. And I was pretty vocal about that I think he runs around a lot and he doesn't really do anything. But in this moment, I don't think it's as cut and dry as we're selling ourselves short or absolutely not. He's got to go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. James Graham brought up an interesting point on this are we basing this on Dyche or a new manager? I mean, I say Dyche is gone soon, so I would say a new manager. Again, like I said earlier, it's hard to judge any of our strikers at all because they're asked to play in a way that is so anti being a striker that it doesn't really seem like it's worth criticizing for sometimes. I don't think that he has the technical or really footballing ability in general to be able to be a successful Premier League striker in the long term. I think that he will go back to Italy and probably have a good, decent career for himself. He will probably score 5 to 15 goals a season and do well and be happy and make the money he needs to. And now that he's played at Everton, he'll get to have a bit of a better pedigree and move to some bigger clubs. I hope the best for him. It seems like Torino has been the one that's been most interested for him. And I hope that it goes well for him there and he gets an opportunity to play at a club like Inter or AC Milan and really have a big club and an opportunity to play European football. I don't mind Beto. I appreciate that he came in and always cared. And I do think that he will go because I think he wants to go. And that's fine.
Yeah, I think he's definitely out. I mean, yes, there were pictures of him at the airport today, but I think regardless he was out, whether that
I think what's really selling ourselves short is even paying as much money as we did for him in the first place. That is going to be a very, 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 very big mark on Kevin Thelwell's time as director of football at Everton, and will be something that the Friedkins very heavily consider when they are looking at his future at the club. Because that was a massive, massive waste of money. It was a massive, and what it was more than anything was a huge panic buy. It was a panic buy, and that is not good. It is not good for the person who's going to be spending your money to be panic buying. I understand that things haven't been at place at Everton, and that might be something that plays a little bit more into the Friedkins' consideration of what happens with Kevin Thelwell. We haven't had the same structure that other clubs have. And so a lot of times we just end up, we also haven't had the financial backing to be able to buy these players. That's been our biggest issue. So we're trying to find cut rate deals all over the place. And what I consider a good deal, if we can get 15 to 20 million for him, I would say that we did very good business and the full run of things. But what I think will realistically happen is we'll get 10 to 15 million for him. It will be a pretty significant loss that will go against us and will probably hamper us just a little bit in the future transfer windows that we have because of PSR. All right. Next up, some Instagram comments. Concerns of management change at this point in the season and Beto out from the Traveling Ginger. Nope, no concerns. He needs to go. It's time. If the question becomes what kind of manager are we going to get in now? I don't think we can get our project manager in, the manager who's going to change his style of play the football quite at the club quite yet. I don't think it will make sense. I don't think it's the right timing. I don't think it's the right player personnel. I would really, in my mind, when I think ideal appointments, David Moyes on a short-term contract is ideal to me. I don't think it happens. I don't know who else comes in after that. I don't know who else can be that sort of that stopgap that will only stay for 6 to maybe 8. I don't even know. I don't want to give him 12 months or 18 months. I don't want to give a manager 18 months. And if there is a manager I would give 18 months, it's going to be David Moyes. I know you're so anti going back to the X thing, Quinn. I can't think of another manager that would fit the profile of what Everton really need for the next 18 months more than David Moyes. I don't. So I don't know.
I can not want David Moyes, and I can agree with your statement of that he is the only one that fits that.
Yeah.
It's hard for me. I've said it so many times, but I'm still not like pro. I'm not tooting the horn of like, let's get David Moyes back in. People have heard that from me. However, I agree that if you're looking for a short-term fix of what we want more on the pitch, who would be willing to sign 6 months. I also don't know a proven manager who will do that for us other than David Moyes. So I agree. I agree that he's probably the only one out there who would say yes to that. But
it's a very scary prospect when you really get down to the nitty gritty about it and think about it, and you can understand why the Friedkins so desperately probably want to hold on to Sean Dyche till the end of this season. I would imagine, like when I really think about it, I would imagine that the Friedkins are probably very, very upset that the results are going the way they are, that Sean Dyche is showing his ass the way he is. Because I know they want this to be a very clean, easy transition, that they want it to be Sean Dyche contract out at the end of the season, maybe even Kevin Thelwell contract out at the end of the season. Thank you for your work. Goodbye. Here's the money you're owed. And then in my mind, like the option that seems like it would work the best is Dan Ashworth and Graham Potter, because they obviously work together really well at Brighton. Whether or not that's realistic for us as a club right now, I don't know. But I would say that seems like a really realistic option of starting the build of a project. And it'd probably be something that both of those men would be very willing and open to be doing, especially because hopefully this summer we will have very few PSR issues.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I think it needs to happen. And then Beto out, we've already discussed. So next question. Any chance we will be playing Columbus Crew? That's what she said. 132. Love the name. Hate the question. No, we will not be playing Columbus Crew. No, I don't hate it. I doubt that this club will. I mean, I'm sure within the next 5 years we'll probably be going on some U.S. tours, but probably not next year. I can't imagine that'll happen quite yet. I think they will probably have another domestic or maybe even like short European preseason tour, but that'll be it. Give it another 2 to 3 years of Freakins being here before we start doing the U.S. tours. We'll probably be playing Roma every preseason for the next 50 years, to be fair. So should just build a trophy and tournament around it. Honestly, just grab. Oh my god, grab like. Oh, this would be so cool. Do like a Rome versus Liverpool tournament and grab Everton, Tranmere, and I don't know FC Marine, and then grab Roma and some other small club and another
Lazio.
non-league club. Lazio, sure. Okay, no, not Lazio. Lazio or Serie A. Serie A. Tranmere
You
versus
don't want to. Oh, I get you. I get you.
Yeah, but just regardless, like, no Columbus Crew. And then yes, J.S. Riley. We know it. He needs to be sacked before the FA Cup game. I mean, he should have been sacked today. In my opinion, he should have been sacked 2 minutes after that game ended yesterday. Should have been a text. You're out. Okay, see you, lads.
Thank you for your post-match comments. You can get yourself home.
Yeah. He could take the bus. Oh man. Yep. Very frustrating. Well, Quinn, do you have any closing parting thoughts here? Because we've been going for just over an hour now.
Thanks for coming to our rant session.
Yeah,
there's a lot of passion and thoughts today, I think.
You know what? We have one question from Irvin Kuhlman. If you want to answer this real quick, what positions do you think we should sign? Everybody but goalkeeper. Thank you, Irvin. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, if we can get 3 players in, I would like a creative player at a right back and a left back. That's what I want. That's all we need, and we'd be good.
And if we could get a goal scorer, someone who could score goals.
I reckon
what does Dyche say? The cutting edge. We need one with the
cutting edge of goal scoring. Welcome, the machine, Terminator, Victor Anichebe. All right. I saw Victor Anichebe score my second ever Everton goal.
Did you see that Ben Godfrey signed
on loan at Ipswich?
Can't wait for him to score on us in May.
He won't. No, he won't. I'm not worried about Ben Godfrey too much. I think he actually just made Ipswich a little bit worse, so that's okay. Yeah.
When people leave, I mean, the prime example is Admiral Lookman.
Did you see Neil Malpay scored today?
I did see that.
Yes. Fucker. We are a Neil Mopay hate channel. And if I hope I get to meet the guy in person one day. I'd actually be really excited about that. I'd be like, Neil.
I would like to exit myself out of this now.
Neil. Hey, Neil, come here, Neil. Hey, come here. Neil, I'm an Everton fan. And then he'd start laughing. And then I can't tell you what I'd do next. I'd be incriminating myself.
It's okay to like wind people up. I'm okay with that.
He's not winding, but he's just being a dick.
I know. I was gonna say, but he
knows what he's doing.
Yes, it's not the same.
He knows what he's doing. He is somebody who likes an easy target, obviously, because he's probably not very funny or very interesting on his own. So he says, "Oh, well, look, these guys that like, yeah, he's just a troll. Best ignored." It's why I didn't engage with him on social media, but why I will complain about him here, because I just have to get it out. Because if I don't, it's toxic, and I know this is what Neil wants. He wants to drag.
Yeah, you are doing exactly what he wants. That's why he wants to drag.
He wants to grab down my throat and drag this out, and he'll probably find this video.
Everyone. It's been a great evening.
You are worried about him finding this video and putting it on this. I hope he puts it on his social media.
Oh no!
I want that smoke, Neil. Bring it on. I'm gonna send it to him. I'm gonna clip it and send it to him now.
Okay, you do that.
No, not really. Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty, guys. Well, that is it. Up the Toffees. We
Time
got
for
Peterborough at home. Wait, one more. Peterborough predictions.
I think we will squeak out a win, but it will
7-0.
not be pretty.
7-0. 7 freaking 0. Sean Dyche keeps his job for the season based off it. Okay. All right. Good night, everybody.
Yes.
Sleep well, sweet dreams.
Up the Toffees
Up
and go
the
Lions.
Toffees. Go Panthers. I can't say that. We're already done. All right. And yeah, we're in Liverpool in 9 days. See y'all later. Good night.